Hello, my name is Eldon Matlick and I'm the horn professor at the University of Oklahoma, and I'm also an educational artist for the Conn-Selmer Instrument Company. This is a clinic over exercise number 36 in Max Pottag's Preparatory Melodies for Solo Work. As we look at number 36, we'll notice already that there is some range considerations, especially for the younger hornist. A lot of horn players think that the G below middle C is starting to get low, and then you have an even lower note later on, and that's the D. Often young horn players do not have a very good control on this particular mid-low region. And so I'm going to show you some things right now that you can do as a warm-up and a procedure for you to get these notes where you need to have them as far as being really solid and well controlled. First of all, let's play our middle C. Now, what we're going to do is take a nice breath and play 4 descending notes: C, B, A, and G. Now, as we go down, make sure that you do not get the lips any more relaxed or flabby. They need to remain firm. If that was difficult for you to do, then I would start up a little bit higher. Say start on your second line G and go down 4 consecutive notes. Make absolutely no changes. Then start on F, and always playing in the key of C major. Now, if the notes have a tendency to get a little wobbly, then all you need to do is think about making sure that you're a little bit more vertical on the inside. Like you're trying to yawn and you're trying to stifle the yawn or yawn politely. Sometimes if you think that you've had a visit to the dentist and had a shot of Novocaine and everything's nice and loose inside, but your jaw really doesn't drop that much, very vertical. Keep going. Now we're at the B. There's the A. And there we are at the G. Now, to get to the D that is located at the end of the line, now that we've established where a good G is, start on the G and again go down 4 notes. Now start on B. Start on A. Now, there's the low E. We can play the E 1 and 2, or we can also play it on the B flat horn, 2nd finger. Some people might find it a little bit more stable. And then when we continue to go down. And then here, that low D is also in the B flat horn, and it's 1 and 2. Philip Farkas, in his book, Art of Horn Playing, has an outstanding exercise and warm-up for this particularly nasty region. This is on page 60 and 61 of his book. It first starts off oscillating between first line E and G. And then you continue doing that in all the valve combinations. Do it second finger, first and second, second and third, and finally 1 and 3. And let the wind pressure get that top note out. Don't wrench your lips as such. Going to use pressurized air, and it's going out a little bit more in front of you. And then you continue this on down. So forth, all the way down to the valve combination 1 and 3. Then you start this next sequence a note lower. In other words, we start now on middle C, going from middle C to E. And so forth, all the way down to 1 and 3. And then, once you do that, you start off on the G below middle C, going up to C. And as you continue down with the valve combinations, at the very end, when you're on the 1 and 3, you're on your low D. So, this is a great exercise, not only to help you move the air, but also how to break in this nasty and treacherous, watery area of our range. Another thing that you can do is to practice slides. Again, we're going to go back up to our middle C, and on a slide, we play the note and then we start letting it drop. I'm not lipping it down, I'm just letting the pitch sag, and the more it sags, the more energy I put into the note, until at the very end, the next lowest note pops out. There, it came out. So I'm going from C to G. You put a lot of air through it, and all of a sudden that bottom note, bang, pops out. Once you can do that, then you can make a nice clean slur by really blowing through that break. And so we're already there on the D, but only this time I was playing the D on the 1 and 3. So it'll actually be easier when you play that D on 1 and 2. Really responds very, very nicely that way. Another problem that I see young students have with this particular exercise is that they try to have embouchure for the lower notes, then an embouchure for the middle notes, and then an embouchure for the top notes, and they're always shifting this rim around. Park the rim on your embouchure and don't move it when you go up or when you go down. We always have the same point of contact. Moving it around is killer. You're not going to be able to have the flexibility, and you'll have a different set in each and every register. If you are having difficulty with this on the first passage, I would start, say, on the second measure on your G, on the second line G, and just play the notes that go down. We're going to play backwards. And as you do that, don't make a change. Get in front of a mirror. Make sure that that mouthpiece isn't moving around on the chops. And slur into it. When you can do that, add the tongue. When you're satisfied with that, then start on the G again and then go up to the octave G. So now we have a unified set and approach to the very opening. Now, we can do the same thing on the second half of this measure. Start on your B natural, on the downbeat of measure 6, and then just play backwards until you land on the F sharp. Okay, now we have from there the octave drop to the low D. What I would suggest is that on that upper D on measure 7, play that on the B flat horn, 1 and 2. So you can use the same fingering for the lower octave. Now, we can put an interim note in there, the A, 1 and 2, and practice a slide. And have 2 slides. You slide from the upper D to the A, take a breath, play the A, let it drop and bend using a big crescendo to get the lower D out. Now, when you're comfortable with that, I would then do this all in one breath. I would bend it down to the A, leave it there for a split second, and then immediately start bending down to the D. then you can gradually eliminate that interim note. Once you've played the first 2 lines of this, you have a lot of dynamic contrast, a lot of range, and it's fairly slow moving. Then you get to the last 2 lines and all of a sudden it's moving way fast. So make sure that you're not playing the opening of this too fast so that the 8th notes that are concluding this aren't going to be too fast, or you're not going to be able to negotiate them quickly. One other thing that might help is on these pickup notes that come on 2 or on the end of 1, is give those a little bit of bump on the energy. Otherwise, they're going to get ghosted. And in this case, when we have the staccato, just a nice bounce to those. Don't worry about playing those short. Just think about a clear articulation. Then at 25, where you have this cascading, what I would recommend you do initially is slur this. Do it slowly. Now, on the 8th note slurring, make sure that we don't have a diminuendo as we go down low. I hear that a lot. So use your ears, make sure that the lower notes have the same presence as the upper notes. Then put the tongue in with it. Now, another thing that might help bring this figure out is on the 2nd note of each slur, pop the air just a little bit. Don't clip it. Don't clip it short. Thinking more taha, taha ta ta, taha ta ta ta, and that will help really solidify this particular figure. And then finally, that low G that we have that is piano, you just cruise on that. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Don't think about playing it soft. Just don't put any more energy in to the horn. Just be right where you normally are. Don't forget, on this exercise there is a da capo, so you got to go all the way back to the beginning and play the first 2 lines again. What I would recommend is breathing after the initial note at the top of the page on the repeat. So you're coming in. So forth like that. That's a good spot to breathe. I've thrown a lot of stuff at you, a lot of special things that I think that if you put this into play and practice this, this is going to make this certainly a lot easier and will also help other parameters of your playing too. Now, let's hear what this is like in its entirety.